Autism affects millions of children worldwide. Biomedical researchers from Israel have recently made a startling clinical discovery. Children whose autism gets diagnosed by 2.5 years of age are thrice more likely to exhibit significant improvements in their social symptoms in comparison to children diagnosed at a later stage. The Israeli study highlights the importance of recognizing the early signs of the autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD. It advises biomedical researchers to develop new tools for the early assessment of ASD. This study has been published in the peer-reviewed journal Autism, which has an H-index of 96. Physicians recommend pharmaceutical drugs to their patients. However, when it comes to drug synthesis or drug manufacturing, physicians have absolutely no role to play. Pharmaceutical drugs are synthesized by highly qualified, synthetic organic chemists. Chemists unleash the power of various reaction mechanisms to manufacture therapeutic drugs against a variety of diseases. According to current estimates, for every kilogram of drugs, around 100 kilograms of waste is produced. To reduce this waste, synthetic organic chemists have come up with a new strategy. They are using blue light to catalyze the process of drug synthesis. This novel procedure uses less energy and minimizes the generated waste. Thank you, dear chemistry researchers, for the mind-boggling medicines you synthesize. Inflammation plays a critical role in a variety of ailments and diseases, such as arthritis, cancer, and heart disease. Although it is universally known that exercise reduces inflammation, the underlying mechanisms remain elusive. Scientists working at the University of Nottingham have now been able to discover a link between exercise and gut microbes. According to a published research study, exercise intervention in people with arthritis not only reduced the arthritic pain, but also lowered the levels of inflammation-causing substances, known as cytokines. The experts discovered an interesting relationship. They found that exercise intervention in people with arthritis triggered their gut microbes to produce more of the anti-inflammatory substances and less of the pro-inflammatory cytokines. Do you enjoy watching science fictions? Me too. Researchers from Northwestern University have invented a new holographic camera that can see hidden objects. The device uses a phenomenon called synthetic wavelength holography to see objects hidden around the corner, to investigate structures hidden beneath the skin or inside the human skull, and even to see through dense fog. The newly designed holographic camera works by indirectly scattering coherent light onto hidden objects. After the hidden objects scatter the incident light, it travels back to the camera. Thereafter, an algorithm reconstructs the scattered light and reveals the hidden objects. Details pertaining to the holographic camera have been published in the reputed journal Nature Communications. Quite recently, astronauts aboard the International Space Station, or ISS, had to scramble to safety after a warning system detected an incoming missile. Although the missile did not cause damage to the ISS, it did end up creating confusion on the International Space Station. The Russian Defense Ministry said that it had successfully tested an anti-satellite missile. The defunct Russian spacecraft, Selena D, which had been in orbit since 1982, was destroyed during this surprise space operation. U.S. officials claimed that they were not informed of the missile test in advance. The missile test has created nearly 1,500 pieces of trackable orbital debris. This space debris continues to pose threat to other satellites, according to U.S. officials. However, space experts find these accusations to be silly. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, has entered into an agreement with the University of Maryland. As per the agreement, NASA plans to provide $32.5 million to UMD. This multi-million-dollar funding will enable UMD to manage and administer the small bodies node of NASA's planetary data system. In other words, data collected on NASA missions will be cataloged, archived, and made publicly accessible for future studies by UMD. NASA regularly stores data on asteroids, comets, meteorites, and other small objects in space for research purpose. This mission will also help astronomers study near-Earth objects more efficiently. Globally, Almost 4 out of 10 adults are either overweight or obese. Whereas good diet and exercise can effectively address this health issue, not everyone who is overweight or obese follows a healthy lifestyle. Sometimes, certain physical disabilities also prevent overweight or obese people from exercising on a regular basis. Researchers from Spain have recently been successful in identifying a new drug target for reducing obesity. The research team discovered something very interesting. A protein called CPEV4 was present in the fatty tissue of obese patients. Blocking this protein in laboratory mice protected them from weight gain and the associated inflammation, despite being fed with a high-fat diet. This discovery can lead to the chemical synthesis of CPEV4 inhibitors in the near future. Patients with Parkinson's symptoms sometimes need to undergo brain surgery. However, brain surgery comes with its own set of medical risks. Biomedical researchers, led by a team at the University of Virginia School of Medicine, recently invented a method for incision-free brain surgery. The method involves the use of focused ultrasound. With this non-invasive technique, surgeons can interrupt faulty brain circuits without having to cut into the skull. The US FDA has now approved this medical procedure. Parkinson's symptoms are mostly treated with drugs. However, at times, medications become ineffective or show serious adverse effects. Doctors may now choose to perform incision-free, focused ultrasound surgery to address Parkinson's symptoms. To learn more, click on the link in the description below. It is a known fact that certain bacteria develop resistance to antibiotics. This poses a huge global problem, and scientists are currently trying to address it. Meanwhile, biomedical researchers working at the Karolinska Institute, Umeå University, and the University of Bonn have been successful in identifying a new group of molecules exhibiting antibacterial effect against many antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Bacterial cells require a lipid, called lipid 2, to build up their cell walls. The newly designed antibiotic drug binds to lipid 2, thereby inhibiting its action. The inhibition of lipid 2 is followed by bacterial cell death. This novel finding has been reported in the reputed journal PNAS, which has an H-index of 771.